Alright, so this knife thoughts video is going to be on this knife, and as you can see, this is the Great Eastern Cutlery made Titty Cutlery number 86 Angus Jack. And this is a recent release from Great Eastern Cutlery, and it is on the 86 frame. They're doing a couple different knives on this frame in this run. They're doing the Angus Jack, which is, you know, the topic of this video. And within the Angus Jack, they're having two versions. They're both Macassar Ebony, but one of them is well done, which is the type that I have here. And then they also had a medium version. So there were just differences in the color of the bone, and also kind of where the name came from, which I'll talk about in a second. But the 86 frame has been run one other time as a jumbo jack and as the oil-filled jack. So this is the second time that they've done this pattern, and I was looking forward to it because I did like the first, versions of this knife. They did a blade forms knife on the pattern, which I didn't get, but I like the oil-filled jack, and I also like the black jack, which was a Charlie Campagna SFO. Have that one in storage. I recently moved, so unfortunately I can't show it to you in this video, but it's relatively similar except for the blade shape on the main blade to the Angus Jack. So without further ado, let's take a look at the knife itself. So as I said, I got a well done version, and what that means is that the ebony is just pretty dark here. So you can see there are some lines of lighter areas in the grain, but it's pretty dark. The medium version was significantly lighter, on the lighter side for ebony for sure. This is not, I would say, on the darker side for ebony, my example at least, but the medium version was definitely on the lighter side for ebony. So I do like the look of ebony on a pocket knife. Has this really nice classic shield here, and I think that it just makes for a really traditional look. When I think of a vintage pocket knife, a lot of the oldest pocket knives that I've seen have been in ebony. So it gives it a really classic look to me, and that's really amplified again by this shield, by the simplicity of the bare end and the simple bolsters, and then the sheep foot and pen blade combination. Now, as for the construction of this knife, it is really, really well done. So to show you the back springs here, there are no gaps at all that I can tell. Throughout the whole frame, just really, really well done. I'm really happy with it, to be honest. Looking at the pins, they're well done. These two are domed, these are flush. There is maybe a teensy little void right there, but that's not a crack. You can see it actually does not go the whole way to the pin. So it doesn't seem to actually be from, the process of pinning the knife. On the other side here, they're also really well done, and the transitions between the bolsters and the covers are really well done also. No noticeable gaps that I can tell. The shield is also well done. Sometimes there are some gaps on GEC shields between the shield and the handle material or the cover material. Very little on this one. So overall, really well done on the fitting. The blades are also well centered, as you can see. The tips are not proud, although I'm surprised by how close to proud the tip is on the sheep foot here. It sits pretty high. Now maybe that's because it does have this pen secondary in the front or on the show side of the knife, so that it makes it easier to get at that nail nick or to pinch it open. And it does have nice action. I would say that it's about a 5, really pretty much square in the center at a 5. Nice and snappy, as you can see. Same deal on the pen blade, not too strong, not too light for sure. Pretty much exactly where I would want the pull to be on a knife like this, and really nice action. I haven't oiled this or anything like that, so this is just straight out of the tube. No blade play side to side at all on the main blade or on the secondary. That's something I expect from GEC. Now there's also no blade wrap, being that this is a pen blade that sits pretty high in the blade well and then a sheep foot. I wouldn't expect to have blade wrap on this knife, but that's something that I definitely like to check for on GEC knives, and this one doesn't have it. The blades themselves, as for the design, it's really classic. Like I said, there's a sheep foot main blade. This is a nice big sturdy looking sheep foot. And then it has a pen secondary, which is again, very classic blade shape combination. You get a usable tip on that pen blade, a little bit, less tall blade also, which is good sometimes to be able, to do more fine cutting. And then the sheep foot for pull cutting, things like that. So I do like the blade shape combination, although to be honest, I probably could go with just the sheep foot if this was something that was going to be a user for me. As for the edge here, you can see that it is an Angus cattle or cow. And so that brings us back to the name. So it's called the Angus Jack. And there's a couple reasons for that. So first of all, like I said, this 86 pattern is a jumbo jack. So it's a hefty knife. It's thick, as you can see, and a very sturdy, solid type jackknife. And, the Angus is known for being kind of a hefty, beefy cow. Not to be redundant with the descriptor there. But the other thing is that one of the people at GEC, Randy Bell, who's the engineer, and posts on Facebook, I talk with him every now and then on Facebook, he said that when they got the Macassar Ebony for these, Bill, the owner and CEO, all that kind of stuff of GEC, noticed that some was darker and some was lighter and said, it looks like well done steak and medium steak. And so I think that maybe also kind of contributed to the Angus Jack name. But I think it's pretty cool. My father-in-law raises cattle. He doesn't, to be honest, raise Angus cattle really. But I thought it was a cool kind of thing. It's one of those things that I love that GEC does. They do these kind of quirky, unexpected, off-the-wall things like naming a knife the Angus Jack that, for me, as someone who appreciates, new ideas and things like that, is really cool. Sometimes people who are more used to the really traditional vintage, way of naming and doing things on traditional knives don't appreciate it, but I do. I think it's there's a cow in the background there, so a little bonus. But I think it's really fun that they do this type of thing, like calling it the Angus Jack. I also think it's cool that they name the two different colors of Macassar Ebony, well done and medium done. It's just a fun thing that GEC does, and I do appreciate it. These knives sold out quickly. The last release from GEC, the 73s, they did a Remington knife, and they apparently made a very large number of them, and so those have not sold out quickly. And it would have been nice if, more people were able to get these, but there's reasons, I guess, why they don't do bigger runs. Again, Randy has kind of mentioned some of that online, but this seems to not be a large run, more of a normal run for GEC, so they have sold out pretty quickly. At this point, I actually got this relatively late in the game, and I've had it for a little while, just wasn't able to make the video. So you might have to look on the secondary market for these, but they pop up on Facebook, the GECC group, and things like that, as well as other places online. So I hope if this is something you're interested in, that you're able to find one. But it's a pretty cool knife. It's one that I have enjoyed getting to check out, and a really good example of GEC's quality, their ability to make a knife that is really traditional, but still make it fun with some new things like the naming. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you know when I post new videos. And make sure you check out my social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Knife Thoughts, and my website, knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on articles on knives like this and knife-related topics. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.